Alright guys, welcome to Field Trip. This is episode 1. Today we're going on a field trip. You're going to find out shortly where we're going. It's actually really cool and into like VHS culture and stuff. It's a little bit of a museum, pop-up museum, so we're going there. It's called Slashback Video. But anyways, I kind of want to talk about movie rental stores and what was your earliest memory of like a rental, like going to like a rental store and like what, like a lot of people talk about like, oh, what was your first theater experience?
Right.
What was your first experience with renting a movie?
Yeah, I don't remember the name of the place, but I was living in San Jose at the time, and it was literally just a block away next to the laundromat that my family went to. And it was one of those places where it's just the cases, the covers of the movie, and there's like a little pog underneath it, and you have to go take it to the clerk, and then they go find it for you and bring it back. And all the time, I was always waiting for Jaws Part 2 to be available, because the pog was always missing. And that was because the Jaws 2 cover was just so badass. And that was the movie I was always dying to see. But that's like one of my earliest memories I remember with video rentals. What about yours?
Definitely. So for me, it was like my dad would just let me rent old releases, because old releases were $1.
Yeah.
And he was a fucking cheapskate. New releases were always like $5. So
Was that Blockbuster or a mom and
it was
pop
at a
place?
mom and pop place, like just this little place in our neighborhood. We would walk over there. It'd probably be like a couple miles away, like maybe 2 miles away. We'd walk there, kind of make a whole trip out of it. We'd walk there, or like ride or skateboard or bike there.
Get an ice cream.
Yeah, exactly. Get an ice cream at 31 flavor, or not even 31 flavors, Thrifty.
Yeah.
So we'd get an ice cream there. Go rent a movie. I would always rent, like, my thing was he would get me in that, like, he loved, like, kung fu movies growing up as a kid in, like, the 70s, so he would always, like, have me, like, oh, you should check out Bruce Lee, but I was, like, a stubborn and shit, and I'm like, nah, I want, like, Jackie Chan. Like, Jackie Chan was my shit. I would just get his movies. They would always be dubbed horribly, but I remember the action was so awesome, and at the end of all the movies, there would always be, like, a really funny, like, blooper reel, like, where they would, like, mess up the stunts or whatever, because he was such a perfectionist.
Always in the credits, right?
Yeah, exactly. Always in the credits. I remember just being so entertained by those. But there was something about like going to the video store, looking at all, like, because even if, like you're saying with Jaws 2, the movie's already checked out, there was always like not the poster art, but the cases were still there.
Right.
So you got to see like, oh, I'm gonna get this next time or whatever. Like I do kind of miss like rental stores in that case.
Right.
But I guess now with like Netflix, they still have all the posters for the movies there, and now it's not gonna not be checked out,
right?
Or checked out already on Netflix. You can just watch anything.
But always like just created like a wish list, and also it's good for kids. Like kids now get everything now. Like they don't have to worry about like, oh man, now I gotta wait my turn and stuff. Because that also in itself is a valuable lesson.
Yeah,
and
true.
Stuff.
I guess.
Yeah, I feel like it is. Yeah.
Instead of
can't
like,
always get what you want.
I got what I want all the time.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't allowed to watch a lot of, like, I would always spend my entire time in the horror collection, but I was not allowed to check out, like, 90% of them. The only ones I was allowed to watch was the Universal monster movies from the 30s, 40s, and 50s.
So, basically, the Slashback Video, it's kind of like a museum pop-up gallery of all these horror VHSs that were collected, and, like, it's supposed to look like a video store, but all horror-related. So it's funny that you actually bring up horror. It's going to be cool to see all this stuff, all that nostalgia is going to kick in, because I remember also as a kid, I would sneak into the horror section. I was never allowed, like, my parents were super strict, but, like, they weren't strict, but, like, they were strict. They wouldn't let me watch, like, scary movies, because they didn't want to have to deal with it, mainly. Like, it wasn't that I couldn't watch it, because they didn't want to deal with it.
I'll admit it, at, like, 1 a.m., I'd be like, Dad, and stuff that no parent wants to deal with that shit.
Wanting to crawl into their bed, make them feel uncomfortable, you know? But, so, like, what are some of the horror VHS? I know that you've been collecting VHS, you know, as of late, and probably for the past couple of years. Maybe we'll check out your collection after we do this, but what are some of the ones you remember the most, like, from your childhood? They could even not be good movies. Like, for me, I'm gonna say Man's Best Friend. It's not a good movie.
No, but
I just remember loving the cover, and it, like, I would always look at the back, and I remember the back was, like, pretty bloody, and I would just be, like, drawn in it. Like, I always, like, just go grab it and look at it. Ghoulies would probably be another one for me.
Definitely.
The first one that I got to rent was Puppet Master. But anyways, what are some of the ones for you?
The ones that always stuck out for me were like Critters, and also a lot of those like sci-fi original ones where it's a big monster, just because I love big monster movies. I loved Godzilla. And because those ones I didn't know anything about. They looked tight from the cover always, but we all know those movies are terrible. But one that always stuck out for me, it's a movie franchise that everyone knows about, but the Child's Play movies. I didn't see those till I was like 14 or 15, and they weren't scary at all. But at like 4 or 5 years old, when I was going to these video stores, I was traumatized just looking at the cover. I remember Child's Play 3, it's just Chucky's face like up close on the cover, and I was just always scared anytime I touched it, just to look around like he was gonna bite my hand or something.
You thought he was gonna like come home and follow you. That was definitely a thing. Like there was some that I wouldn't even touch at the video store. I'm like, yo, that ain't happening. If I touch that, like, this fool's gonna come, like Chucky will be at home waiting for me and shit. Knew that I was drawn to the tape.
My mom would get pissed also anytime I ever looked at The Exorcist, because I never understood what was so scary about it. The cover's just a dude in a long black trench coat carrying a suitcase in front of an apartment building. But I mean, it hurt her a lot as a kid growing up, so that's why she always tried to protect me from seeing it and everything. It seems like that's a movie that all parents are scared of. Like, aren't your parents like also?
Definitely. I know that my parents have talked about it, like, oh, The Exorcist, that was like a movie that was so scary and scared me, and we saw it together. My parents would always say, like, and I still, like, I'm wondering what for our generation will be that movie, you know, like, what are we gonna like look at and be like, tell our kids about, and they'll hear about, will it be Paranormal Activity? Like, that probably had the biggest like pop culture explosion, and like came on when it first came out. So I'm wondering if that will be it. Like, what are the kids gonna ask us about?
And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I guess maybe Saw.
Saw started the torture porn franchise, even though that movie itself is not even really a scary, gory torture movie.
Yeah, it's more like a detective movie.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, we're on our way to Slashback Video. Traffic just cleared up, so you'll see us soon. See you guys there. So we just made it back from Slashback Video. We're just here to talk about our thoughts on it. We got all of James's VHS copies in the back, just kind of showing off his collection versus the shots that you saw previous to this, which were the awesome Slashback Video.
That's my dream version of what I want in my
basically want
room that you see right now.
An office that was like basically Slashback Video would be fucking sick.
Oh my gosh, that's a dream right there. Yeah, and just all the posters, like some of the art that we saw, and just
I don't think it would be too hard to make, to be honest.
True, yeah.
Like that would be pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. It was an awesome experience. This was the last week, so sadly, if you're just checking this video out now, it's over. But if you did check it out, or you saw pictures, or even you saw this video, let us know what you think in the comments below. I know this was done at the Mystic Museum in Burbank, California, and basically, I guess every a couple months or so, they have like a little pop-up museum or exhibit there. So the one before this was Ouija boards, which they kind of still had available in there, and that was cool to look at. But the real prize to be eyed was Slashback Video. It was awesome, but it was kind of like a trip down memory lane, just going in and seeing all of these old VHS tapes. I remembered there was so many that I remember just looking at. Like, it had that nostalgia factor that we love. What were some of your favorite things that you saw there?
It was funny, I brought it up on our way there, that Jaws 2 was the movie I always wanted to rent, but was never available, and it was available to rent there essentially. But a lot of movies also that I've just never heard of, and just movies I remember as a kid just being so scared to turn the cover over and stuff.
There's
a lot of those today.
That's a real fear there.
Yeah.
Being able to turn over the cover. Like, I remember I would just, look, all scared.
Yeah.
And there's some that I wouldn't even, I just like you said earlier, like, I don't want to be cursed by even touching that, so I'm not turning that over. The horrors on the other side of that tape could be real.
It's funny also, though, this time, though, like, as a kid, I was just too scared to touch it, but now I'm just like, I want to touch it, but I can't. I'm not allowed to. We're not allowed to touch anything.
Hey, maybe that, like, there was, you guys probably saw there were signs saying you can't touch it because it was a museum, essentially.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to touch it because they don't want people getting their grubby hands on stuff and messing up pieces that were in other people's collections. So I think they kind of nailed that, though, because you couldn't touch things. It still had that same vibe where you're like, I can't look at the back, though. So I kind of think it was a little happy accident there because it brought that back where, like, I couldn't even look at the back if I wanted to.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the things I enjoyed the most was seeing they had a bunch of pieces that were on for sale that were basically like someone had recreated like a VHS cover, or there were even VHS covers for movies that weren't on VHS, like It Follows, a movie a couple years ago. Great movie if you like these style of movies and you're looking for something a little modern that has that same style. Go check out The Final Girls. I'll put the link in the description below. But that movie, they had the movie, I think it's called
within the movie.
Yeah, Summer Slaughter or something like that. Yeah. They had it in they had the video for the movie within the movie, which I thought was really cool. They had a bunch of like recent movies that I guess got released on VHS that were like done by Nerdist.
Mondo also, I saw, like Splinter was one of the ones that we saw.
Splinter, yeah, really liked that movie. Beyond the Gates was another one. There's a couple of those. There was like one of my favorites that I saw. It was Critters, but it was like done where I think they got a bunch of tapes of Critters, and then basically cut around and made it like a 3D kind of piece of art.
It was insane just looking at that. That was my favorite part also. My favorite one was, you pointed it out to me, was the Alien cover. It had the egg like symbol that we all see on the original cover movie poster.
But anyways, I think that was some of my favorite things I saw there. I definitely I hope that it makes a reappearance, or they do maybe a Slashback video too or something along the lines of that, because it was a cool experience and it was really awesome to see. I'm glad we got to go check it out. If you guys enjoyed this video, this is our first episode of Field Trip, which we're going to try and go to different events that would relate to, not like go to the movies or anything, but things
our
that
love for cinema. Yeah,
that would relate to stuff in the real world that we can go out to and check out, and bring a little piece back here for an episode of Field Trip. So that's it, guys. Go like this video. Do what you got to do. Leave a comment. Let us know what you liked from this video. And if you got to check out Slashback video, let us know what you thought of it.
Yeah, this is such a great time. This is a fun thing that I'm hoping that we get to do more often as well. Until our next trip, though. We'll see you guys then.
Do something kind of cool and go somewhere while still making a video.
Well, leave it in there.